Hey everybody, my name is LaJoy. I am the owner of LaJoy Photography and the First Look Photography. And I'm reaching out to you guys today just to do this quick video of these edits from the couple that was on the TV show Love is Blind on Netflix. This is Lauren and Cameron. If you haven't watched the show, you need to definitely catch up. And I just wanted to run through three of the photos that I shot while we were waiting for the show to air. And these are the three images that I chose. So I want to go through this really quick. This video is not going to be long because I want you to be able to run through your Lightroom edits very quickly. So when I begin editing, the first thing I'm going to do is go over to the basic editing tab that's over here on the right hand side, and you're going to start to adjust things that you know you want in every single photo. So for me, each photo that I edit, no matter what the lighting situation is, more than likely is going to get these settings unless it's something special. So I'm going to add a little contrast and it'll be under 20. So I just make sure I say under 20 for that. I add a little clarity to the image and you can already see some things starting to change. I'll go down here to detail and I will put all the sliders for sharpening right in the middle except for the one for masking. I don't bother that one at all. So I put them close enough to the middle as possible. I'm not really big on like what numbers I use for this, but I just stick them in the middle. Then I go down to noise reduction and I add luminance to the photo. And I'm going to slide that one right over to the middle as well. And you can see my settings up here. The ISO is at 320, so it's not going to change it too drastically, but it does help and it gives it a nice, I guess, look to my photos, in my opinion. This is shot with an 85mm lens, and it is at 3.5 and 1/250 of a second for this particular image. Now that I've done all of that, I can close the detail tab because I know I don't need to go back into that. I'm going to go down to the photos that I have selected. I know I want to add these settings to all of my images, so I'm going to select those photos and I'm going to go over here on the right hand side at the bottom and press sync. That's going to synchronize all of the contrast, clarity, and the detail settings that I have here to each image that's now down here. And you can tell that it's done that by these little boxes in the corners at the bottom of each image. So now these photos have two completely different lighting situations. I'm not going to edit them the same. So I'm going to make sure that those photos are not selected when I'm editing this image here. All right. So then I'm going to go back into the basics setting. And now I want to make the photo look exactly how I want to, how I want to bring out this particular couple. So for this one, I'm going to immediately go in and I'm going to start playing with the exposure on the image. I'm going to lift the shadows as much as I feel like they need to be lifted. This is a really nice and bright photo, so I do like the colors that I have in here already. Lift the whites just a tad, and that gives the background in this image, makes it really pop, makes this couple that has more color and contrast to them. It's going to make them pop a whole lot more also. Now, after I've done that, I'm going to go up here to the temperature and tint settings and see if there's anything that I need to change. I don't like my photos as warm, so I'm going to cool this one down just a little. So I am going to play with this, and you can do your sliders however you wish. You're going to edit based on your style. I'm just showing you guys what I do. For the tint of the image, I want to make sure that I'm looking at the whites in the photo and make sure that it's not saturated with, red tones, and I don't see too many green tones in there either. All right, I think that right here is pretty good. All right, so now I'm seeing that I have my greens in the background, and I want to play with that a little bit. So you can go in here and play with your specific colors. Now the greens in the background, I kind of want them to pop out a little bit, especially the ones that are here a little closer to the couple. So I'm going to increase the luminance on this one. And depending on if I want it to be a little dull or if I want it to be super bright and vibrant, I'm going to make it a little bit more vibrant also. And then I think I'm okay with that. I'm trying to think everything that I did. He does have on like a lavender shirt. So if you want it, you can play with the color of his shirt. Her dress is going to have some magentas in it, so you can play with that as well. Make it a little bit more saturated if you would like to, or make the fact that it is a more, the dress is kind of shiny. The material that it's made out of is like a satin material, so it gives off that shine. You can play with that in there as well. So after doing all of that, and I'm satisfied with the colors that are in the photo, and these are just Lightroom edits. I don't like this area in the corner here. It just feels distracting. So I'm going to crop this photo, and I'm going to make sure I straightened it based on what's going on in the background and the lines that I have in the image. And I think that's pretty nice. So now I want to go and look at the image as I have completed this full edit in Lightroom. I'm still going to take this photo over into Photoshop and do any retouching to the skin, but for right now I am very satisfied with this because I love the way that the skin tones look for both of the people that are in the image. I might add a little bit of black to this just to give her hair a little bit more vibrance, and the dark spots in the image make them pop out a little bit more. I like a lot of contrast in my image. It's completely up to you what you prefer. This is your photo that you're going to take what I'm teaching you here and then apply that to your image. Okay, so with that, I think this is done. And then I'm going to go on to the next image. If I apply those settings to the very next image, it's not going to look the same. So now I'm going to go down here and see what happened to this one. Now for this, it doesn't make them pop nearly as much. The settings that I did on that last photo made that photo amazing. So real quick, let's look at the before and after of that. So we're going to reset it, and then we're going to undo that. And that made them really pop for that first one. Okay, so for photo number 2, I'm going to go and reset this simply because I put changes on it from the last photo and I want you guys to see it from beginning to end. Now, I can still do the contrast and the clarity and the detail settings that I had before. So I'll resync that from this photo, the photo that's next to it here. Then go back in here, and now let's make them pop in this image. The first thing I can see that I need to bring up the exposure because I don't like how dark it is. I also need to bring the highlights down just a tad, not a lot, and lift a little bit of the shadows. Bring down the darkness on the photo. Then I want to make sure I warm this image up because it looks really cold. They don't look like, it doesn't look its best. You're looking at the colors that are on the wall in the background, the light fixtures in the background, and you want everything to kind of flow together and look nice together. So I think that coolness of it, that those blues and stuff that are in the poles in his pants, I think that's a little too much. So I do want to warm this one up. I don't really love my photos being super warm, but for this one, I do want it to look a little different. All right, so then playing with the sliders for the highlights, the shadows, and the exposure until you get the photo exactly where you want it. I'm still seeing some color in this particular pole that's not 100% black. So I do want to play with that and see if I can pull those blues out. So that's what I'm gonna do. So if I put it back to 0, you can see what I mean by the blue tints and stuff like that in the pants and in the pole. But if you bring down the saturation, it's gonna give you more of, you know, what you're looking for without having any issues with the rest of the image. And then you can also pull it out of his shirt as well. All right, so the last thing I would do to this one is crop it because his feet are cut off, her feet are cut off. So you want to go ahead and crop this image. And you don't want to crop out the interesting parts of the photos. So I wouldn't crop it here because then I lose the light fixtures. And I want the light fixtures in there because they add that extra warmth to the photo. So I want to kind of leave it here and make sure it's straight. Let's see what we got. Perfect. So in my opinion, this is very nice. It's interesting. It has the light fixtures at the top. It shows that they have some warmth in there. Only thing I don't like right now is it has more of like a magenta tint to it. So I think that's a little too much redness going on in that photo. We're going to pull it down and put a little green tint in there. Now that I can see it up close, like really, really up close, I want to make sure that I don't like the highlights being that bright. And just make sure this image has everything that I need it to have. Now, for some reason, I still feel like I'm not getting what I need. I'm going to take the adjustment brush tool, which is right up here. Click on that. And I'm going to highlight her where I want her to have that extra, I guess, I don't know, like that extra greatness to her skin. And I'm going to bring it in here and highlight where her makeup is naturally highlighted. Because they're two completely different people, I am not going to highlight him with the same one that I used for her. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get a new one. And then hers is saved right here. I can still go back and change that if I need to. And then I will highlight him because they have two completely different skin tones. They have two completely different light sources hitting them. And you don't want to highlight them or edit them the same as if they're the absolute same person. So then come in here, play with the light a little bit, go back to my adjustment brush tool, click on hers, and that way I can just adjust the highlight on her and nothing else. So I adjust that a little, and these still have to go through Lightroom, or I'm sorry, Photoshop, so I'm not too concerned with that. And I think that's pretty good to make its way over to Photoshop. I'm going to reset it so you can see where it was. Then undo my reset and show you where I ended up. All right, so photo number 3. This one's even quicker because it's an outdoor photo. And we want to bring the highlights on this photo down immediately. All the other settings were synced and transferred over to this one. So we already have contrast, we already have clarity, we already have the detail settings for the sharpening and the luminance. So we're good. So we're going to lift the shadows on this one, but bring down the blacks so that her hair stays nice and black. We're also going to lift the exposure just a tad, and I'm going to make sure that they're not pink because of that building in the background. So we want to stop that pinkness from being in the photo. Then this one's completely different. They have concrete underneath their feet. I am going to crop this photo, but I kind of want to crop it a little different. I want to crop it so that it's just her feet hanging and then his are cut off. All right, so if you can tell, they have on blue jeans. That blue jean that they have on is all over that concrete up under them. So what I want to do is kind of pull the blue jean a little bit so that it's not so like crazy reflecting on the ground. Because if you can see, there's a lot of blues in the ground, and I want to pull that down. They don't have on the same color jean, so that makes it a little different. You can also lift and put luminance, a little luminance on there for the blue, and that'll pull the jean out as well. I personally like the blues a little bit tame in the photo and not super bright. And then you can play with the greens in the background if you want to make those a little bit more vibrant. You can even play with that red that's in the background, but then you got Cameron now wearing lipstick, and we don't want to do that because his lips have that natural pink tone to them. And same with her. Now she's got on, full lipstick, and we don't want to do that. So we can decide if we want that red to be darker or lighter, and we can control that. I want to lift it just a little bit. Okay, so I actually think that this is right here is good for this image. I am then going to go over here to the top and get the spot removal tool, because I just want to take away one tiny thing, which is right here on the photo, and that's it. All right, so that is pretty much what I would do when editing my clients. I'm going to reset this one so you can see the before and give you the after. So there are these 3 photos. So 1, 2, 3. All right, so these are my Lightroom edits for these 3. Thank you guys for watching, and if you have any other questions, please post them below, and I will try and answer the questions or even get it answered on another video for you guys. All right, thanks. Enjoy your day. Bye.